Hello and welcome to Megawhat, where each week we give you the lowdown on the latest piece of kit from the world of technology and gadgets. We've come down to the business centre in Islington for the Apple Let's Rock event, where we're going to be finding out what new products they're launching in time for Christmas. Will it be an iPod Nano 4th generation with a larger screen? Will there be iTunes 8.0? Find out in the rest of the episode. So here we go, hot off the press, the new 4th generation iPod Nano. What's new about it? Well, you get a 2-inch screen which has an accelerometer in it, so it shifts that way and that way, as you can see, and there's some enhanced features. Mainly, it's pretty thin. Available in 8 gig and 16 models. The starting price is $109 for the 8 gig version and $149 for the 16 gig model. Other than that, it's pretty much the same as usual. They have added a new feature called Genius, which is a playlist system that basically works on looking at your music collection and then giving you suggestions to go against those if you want on the fly. Now, you can also do this in the newly announced iTunes 8. More of that later in the show. The other thing that we think is quite funky is that if you shake it, it will change track, very much like the Sony Ericsson mobile phones. Although the only thing is, we hope that you'll be able to turn this off, because running with this thing, that would just be a nightmare, wouldn't it? And that is the iPod 4th generation. So the iPod Touch, you've seen it all before, or so you think. Well, that's because Apple have announced a 2nd generation iPod Touch, and here it is. Yes, it looks very much like the original. It's still got the 3.5-inch touchscreen, which you can obviously just scroll around and do as you will. But what they've done is added volume controls. They've also added an inbuilt speaker, so at least you can hear the tunes. Probably more, to be honest, for the gaming side than the music side. I'll play you the speaker. It's very loud in this room, so you probably won't be able to hear it. I'll put it next to the speaker. It's not going to appeal any audiophiles, but I think it's more for a gaming thing than actually a music thing. But in addition to that, they've also, in an attempt to try and get you as thin as this new device, it's added Nike plus iPod, so you now get fitness workouts in your iPod, so you can take it with a run. And all you now need is the transmitter to plug onto your trainers for you to get going. There's also a new model, 32 gig, which will set you back £289, but if that's too expensive, then you'll be able to get the new 8 gig model for £169, shipping today, and that's the iPod Touch 2nd generation. So if you're not in the market for a new iPod or iPod Touch, then you can at least benefit from Apple announcing a new version of iTunes. Going from version 7 to version 8, there's a number of new features, including new browsing capabilities and something called the Genius. Now, quickly on a browsing thing, you get album art in a very sort of pretty scrollable fashion. It's very much like the iPhoto interface, so it allows you to make the album art bigger, as you can see there, or smaller, as you can see there. Now, you can also search for certain things via genre, via composer, via artist, or via album, and it's supposed to make it a lot more picture-friendly, a lot more interactive. But that's not the cool thing. The cool thing is Genius. Now, working on something which we probably think is very similar to Peter Gabriel's The Filter. It's an inbuilt piece of software that allows you to select a certain track and then have the iTunes software recommend a number of tracks that will fit for that purpose. So if you pick, for example, let's pick an album. So we've got, let's go, who have we got? Al Green, there we go. So I pick Al Green, I double click on here, and then all I have to do, I pick a track, I then go down to the bottom right-hand corner and I press Genius. Now all of a sudden it's gone through my collection, it's then said, right, here are all the tracks that sound like Al Green, same tempo, same beat, same sort of atmosphere and ambiance, probably, and then worked out the good tracks for you. Now that's one great thing. However, Apple, probably seeing a cash cow in the making, have added a button that allows you to then go through and find the Genius options for their online catalogue, which of course has about 8.5 million tracks available to you. So by pressing on a certain song, it then gives you songs that you're missing from that artist, but also recommendations. So it allows you to find other music that you perhaps aren't familiar with. In this case, Lay It Down featuring Anthony Hampton from Al Green, recommends that we should probably get Just a Little Lovin' from Shelby Lynn, or Behind the Ritual via Van Morrison. As with the iTunes, you can play a quick selection of tunes to make sure that you're happy with the playment, and then you can obviously purchase it one click. I think this is going to make Apple stack loads of money because it's just making iTunes even easier to buy. Overall, it's more of a refresh than a complete overhaul, but the added dimension of Genius, which I think is a real killer sell for the free download, and the new browsing capabilities will mean that this is a must-have for all you iPod owners out there. So there you have it, the announcements and the chance for us to play with stuff. Everything pretty much as expected, as the rumour mill predicted. Good old Kevin Rose came through with his 4th generation iPod Nano leak and everything else from the iTunes, the Genius modes, etc, etc. In fact, I'm not sure why we really came. Well, of course I'm sure. We had a chance to play with the products, hear it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So, should we be impressed? Well, I think the Genius mode is a really good idea from iTunes. It's certainly a genius idea from Apple and will surely, no doubt, add to their sales figures no end for iTunes as you buy more and more tunes based on stuff that they're recommending that you get because of the music you already like. The 4th generation iPod Nano, well, looks like they've gone back to the 2nd generation model. The short, fat, stubby options back out. Nobody liked that, it's clear, and so therefore they've gone for a thinner, taller option. The widescreen, well, it makes sense. The accelerometer, it makes sense. As for the iPod Touch, well, it is only a refresh after all. The speaker, I don't think that's for music at all. I think that's more for the games. Certainly when we've tried to play applications on our iPod Touch at home, it's like, there's no sound. That's annoying. That's obviously now fixed. Additionally, obviously the Genius modes go out through the Nano and the Touch, and the volume controls on the Touch, will make sense, but hey, do we really care? Overall, a muted launch from Apple. They're obviously playing it very safe with a credit crunch coming and don't want to go out on a limb with a brand new product that might fall flat on its face. So, thumbs up for the new models, but if you're not that excited or have already got them, don't worry, you don't have to upgrade. Well, that's it for this week. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show. Why don't you tune in next time for more news, reviews, tips, tricks, opinions, and much more. I'm Stuart Miles. We're here at the Business Centre in Islington. This is Megawhat TV. Thanks for watching.